Hi, I'm Amy with Well Mommy Scrapping, and welcome to Stamp With Me, a twice monthly hop where we try to use our stamps on scrapbook layouts. If that sounds interesting to you, I'd love if you would subscribe to my channel and hit that bell so you're notified whenever I produce more videos. Today, I'm going to be using this background stamp to create some embellishments. Let's get started. So to start off, I'm going to use the Tim Holtz stamp platform by Tonic Studios to stamp with the Hero Art stamp. It's called Starry Night Brushstroke Bold Prints. It's a very long name. I struggle with this stamp every time I try to use it because I can never get a really clean impression. And with this particular stamp, though, and how I'm going to use it, I didn't worry so very much about it. Now, you will see that when I put the embossing powder over that, there were fingerprints everywhere. I forgot to use my little anti-static tool. So I decided to brush off all of the embossing powder, flip it over, and try again with the other side. And I went ahead and did this also with the orange and blue paper. And with both of those, I forgot to use the anti-static pouch. But for some reason, I didn't have as many problems. So I don't know. I was just kind of going, I'm going to be cutting this up anyways, so it doesn't really matter if it's perfect. You can see there's the spot in the middle that I couldn't quite get. Now this embossing powder that I'm using is by Nuvo, and it's the Copper Fine Detail and is gorgeous. I went ahead and repeated that process with the orange and then with the blue, and I left the blue in there because you can actually see it melting and turning shiny. I thought that was cool. All right, so next step, I am taking my star punches and I am punching large, medium, and small stars from each of the embossed papers. I cut way too many stars. I do not even use half of them, but it's nice to have some options because some of them where I punched them out, I really was just punching kind of like go down the line and do it quickly. And some of them had more blank space than what I would have preferred, which it was nice having those options to choose some other ones. All right, so I'm finishing up cutting all of these stars. I will save them and put them with my Harry Potter pictures. Now, the photo I'm doing is the one of my daughter and I at 12 Grimmauld Place at Universal Studios, which is the headquarters for Order of the Phoenix. And my daughter hadn't quite gotten to that part yet in reading books, but I told her, I'm like, don't worry, at some point you will understand this. I pulled out all of my scraps from my scrap pouch, which I keep with this collection. And I ended up using only that one cityscape as my 12 by 12 paper. Everything else came from my scraps, which is something I love to do. I decided I was going to piece together the mat using different pattern papers. And I do this on occasion, and I really like how it turns out. The story behind that house, it's an old rundown house, so having the busyness and mismatch of all the different papers, I really like how that came together. Since it's all from the same collection, they all match and coordinate so well with each other, which was really nice. And I picked some pieces that had all the different colors in. So while that first piece I put down was hearts, which is hard to tell once it's glued down, but it's lots of red. And there's not any red then in that plaid piece that I just put down. But this floral piece has the red, it has the purple, it has a little bit of blue, and then the leaf page, which is the largest one, I picked that up first. You can see it laying on the table right there. That one also has a lot of the colors. So including those layers that have multiple colors helps to tie in the layers where the colors don't go together at all. I can't talk. I want to use this little word fun, and I decided to stick it in sideways. I wish I had waited, looking back now as I'm narrating, I wish I would have waited to place that in there until I actually got further into the layout. Now, this was a strip from the cut apart page, and I decided I was going to fussy cut 3 of those tickets. First, I'm sticking my photo up on 2 pieces of foam tape from scrapbook.com. It's their 2-inch tape. It is awesome. We'll have a link down below. You should check it out. And I cannot seem to get it placed exactly where I want it. I'm still not completely happy. There I was, where I started fussy cutting. I took out the fussy cutting because nobody needs to see me struggle with that. Just Zoom, power of editing. We now have little tickets that are all cut out. Now, I wasn't planning on using this pink one that says Adventure Awaits. But then my title was going to be just 12 Grimmauld Place. And now it's at 12 Grimmauld Place, because it kind of ties in with that pink ticket. There I am quickly getting these letters put down, and I have to glue them. So I sped this up super fast because nobody needs to see me glue letters down for 10 minutes. I don't even want to see it. Slowing it down though, so you can see what I started doing now with the stars. I want to use these stars for layering. And so before I put the E of Grimmauld Place on, I wanted to glue down one of the stars so that the E is just over top of it. And that gives that a little bit more dimension and ties in the stars to the title and eventually be to the rest of the layout. I decided to go back and pick up the letters that I hadn't glued down because the G had already shifted. I end up not doing the at right now, but I will be doing that a little bit later because it comes up also. You know, just how these little thin letters go. The letters are from Pink Fresh, and I love them. I think they're absolutely lovely letters, but they're puffy, and just adhesive does not want to stay. I think it's that there's not enough adhesive. As it ages, it kind of shrinks a little bit, and when something's bigger, it has enough to hold on. But since these are thin letters, it doesn't have the adhesive left when it's shrunk up. So I ended up having to glue them all down, which is fine. I should have remembered that, but I didn't. That glue gets a lot of use on this layout. All right, so now we are going to be doing the little tickets and placing those in. That date ticket, I decided I'm not going to put as a layer within the photo. That was the original plan, but I always put a date on the lower right corner. And I figured, you know what, let me do that with a ticket and actually create a little embellishment cluster down there. I grabbed some of my paper, my 6x6 paper with this collection, and cut a strip of scrap. This is the same leaf pattern that's on that large final background layer of the photos. I get it inked, and then I'm like, wait a second, this is like cut wonky. It's crooked. So go ahead and change it out for another one that's shorter, and it works quite well. I think that longer one would have eventually interfered with the grouping that's going to be on the bottom right corner of the photo. So I am glad that I changed it out to a smaller one. Now, I did not actually put the date on the ticket yet. And even as the time that I'm sitting here narrating this, I didn't put the date on it because I need to look back and make sure this actually was August 2nd. I couldn't remember if it was the 2nd or the 3rd. We spent most of our time in the Harry Potter section of Universal on August 2nd. That was Elizabeth's actual birthday. And we spent more time out in the rest of Universal on August 3rd since, you know, we're still celebrating our birthday, but we weren't doing the whole Harry Potter side of it. So I think it's the 2nd, but I got to make sure because I only have one ticket. Want to make sure I get the right date written down. All right, so now I'm pulling out our other embellishments. I like how I said our other embellishments like they belong to both of us, you and me. No, I'm sorry, they're mine. I have those cork ones there. I end up not using them. They're very big, and I had already had enough big enough elements that I didn't want to cover up more of the cityscape because I chose this paper. It's not a paper I would have picked, but because that house is, you know, apartment, I don't know what, town, home, what would you call this? But it's stuck between all those. I wanted to use that city block. There I go, just kind of rambling on there going, I don't know what I call it. And I realize now that I could have done the word at in teeny tiny letters, which is what I really wanted to do. But I didn't want to find and look for teeny tiny letters and forgot that they came with the sticker pack. And by the way, the stickers in the sticker pack don't want to stick because American Crafts. Now here's some Glitter Girl, something you really wouldn't expect to see on it. But that camera, when I was flipping through my 6x12 embellishment packs, that camera jumped out at me because it matches. And so I went ahead and pulled out two more things. The little arrow that says "So Cool" and the speech bubble that says saving the world. Now, if you know anything about me and speech bubbles, I don't like speech bubbles for some reason. I don't know why. I always have to cut the little tail off. I always feel like the tail is at the wrong spot. Flipping through the sticker book, though, I found 3 geotags that really kind of went with the pictures. One was kind of a burnt orange, one's a yellow, and one's a navy blue, which those are the colors pretty much of the stars. So, of course, I pulled out all 3. And I use all 3 in different spots on the layout. Kind of, you know, roll of 3s. Now they form that nice visual triangle, incorporating the photo in the title. And now I'm sprinkling these stars about. I have to confess that as I'm putting them down, I'm like, I forgot to ink these. And I can't go and ink some of them and not others. That would drive me crazy. So I left all of them uninked. And I'm trying to decide if I like it or not. This is the little stamp sticker I pulled out. Well, I just inked the stamp sticker. Now it's on my finger. Now I'm inking the camera. And the camera I end up putting on a piece of the 1-inch foam tape from Scrapbook.com. Now the little stamp piece that I pulled out from the book is a Big Ben, which is the only reason I went and grabbed it. I wasn't sure if I really wanted to use it or not, but I'm like, it's in London, might as well just kind of get it down there. And I kind of move it around a lot. I will say that too. All right. Making sure it's stuck down. And these little suitcase bags, I don't know why. I pulled them out, decided I wanted to use them, but I could not seem to find a great place for them. And they kind of end up, they're going to end up at that bottom right cluster of the photo. But it took me a while. And then the So Cool, I really liked the little curve to it. But then I realized I put those stars at the top right there. I put the stars where I was going to use them. And it felt weird to cover up the stars for some reason. So I went ahead and trimmed off the corner part. And I was thinking I could add it at the bottom, but I would want it pointing to the photo, so it doesn't quite work down there. And I end up deciding to add it in at the cluster at the top left. It does overlap the photo, which is something I don't particularly like to do a lot. I've done it on a couple layouts though recently, and I make sure whenever I do that, one, it's not the original and only photo I have. Since these are all digital photos, I can reprint as I need to and want to. And 2, I make sure it's not my only photo. And I've got a lot of dead space there because I'm trying to figure out what I was doing. I was figuring out about the sticker, suitcase sticker. Now here's where that saving the world would have come in great. I wish that the little speech bubble had been pointing in the other direction. I think if you don't understand the story of Harry Potter and what this place is, then saving the world probably doesn't make much sense. But needless to say, we were ready to battle Voldemort and save the world. And yes, I say his name. Mwahaha! I laugh in the face of danger. Alright, so more star time. And I want to include enough of these stars so it doesn't feel like a random thing. The yellow really pops out at me. I will confess that. I'm not sure if I picked the exact right shade of yellow, but I didn't have anything that was more muted yellow. Does that make sense? So I went ahead and went with it. You know what? Are the yellow stars my favorite? No, I will definitely say they're not. However, they work. The layout is done. I need to do a couple sentences of journaling, and then this layout is finished and in the album. And the fact that there I am finally gluing down the word at. And the fact that it's in the album is much better than it's the photo just staying in my stack of stuff for Universal. So I'm okay. It's not my favorite, but it's done. And that's the important thing. And I do like actually how the stars turned out. Just not sure I like the yellow stars, the shade of yellow. I almost wish I had gone with like one of the aquas or even a pink. I think that would have looked nice. So more stars, more trying to figure out where things will go. And each of the clusters have some stars that are up on foam tape. I use 2 different levels of foam tape. I have some thicker stuff and some thinner stuff. And they all have ones that are flat. And that helps to give some of that dimension, and it just, I don't know, it feels like it ties everything together because it's not all just flat on the page. That's one reason I think why lately I have been really big on putting at least one photo up on foam tape. I like that it lifts it. I like that it adds that little bit of shadow behind, and it brings your attention even more to the photo. And then putting the embellishments all up on foam helps to tie the embellishment clusters into the photo as well. I wanted to do something a little different, and so I actually glued that orange star onto the yellow one first, so that way I could put them on together with that blue. And then I was like, how did I figure that out before? I forget things immediately. It seems like I feel like I've got like Dory's issue from Finding Nemo. It's like, oh yeah, this would work great. What was I doing? All right, now I'm pulling out something from Field Trip, and it's the Puffy Thicker Phrases, and it had a lot of the orange stars in it. So I decided I would pull out all of the orange stars and include those in my clusters. I end up then with different sizes, and I end up really with the different shapes and styles of stars, but I like it. I had to switch that little one down to the bottom. The bigger one worked better up at the top. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay that they're different. Here is the 6x12 sticker sheet from Go Now Go. I have not even opened this package, and I wish I had taken a moment beforehand to look at it a little more in depth, because that has these really pretty cream and copper clouds that would have worked out quite well with this. But at this point, there's so much already down, I wouldn't be able to fit any layers on the bottom. I still have my original enamel shapes from this collection as well, and I decide to use all 15 of the stars. So I end up with blue, red, pink, aqua, and gold glitter stars that I sprinkle everywhere. And surprisingly, I don't use my Nuvo drops. So let me know what you think of this layout. Do you like to do stamping and embossing on your layouts? Leave a comment down below. If you're not subscribed, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button and join me at One Mommy Scrapping. I hope you guys all have a lovely day. Bye!